welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into the top 10 things that drove me crazy when I first moved to Lake Havasu City, but have grown to love. If you are considering a move here or you've just arrived, stick around because this video might just help you see some of the quirks of Lake Havasu in a whole new light. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything about living in Lake Havasu City, then hit that subscribe button below and tap the bell for notifications, and you will be the first to hear about all of the latest market updates in Lake Havasu City. My name is Christina and I am with the Horton team at Realty One Group Mountain Desert, and we get calls every day from folks just like you. So whether you're planning to make a move in 9 days or 9 months, don't hesitate to reach out. All of our contact information is in the description box below, and we would be delighted to help you make a smooth move to Lake Havasu City. Now, let's dive into what might drive you crazy when you first move to Lake Havasu City. Okay, number one, the slow pace of life. Now, the slow pace of life living in Lake Havasu can feel like stepping into a different world, especially if you're used to the fast pace of a big city. Here, things move slower, shops close early, and you will hear phrases like, "let's take it easy," more often than you would expect. Now, I will admit it, when I first moved here, it drove me crazy. I remember standing in line at the grocery store, tapping my foot as the cashier and the customer ahead of me were chatting away like they were old friends. But inside, I was thinking, can we move this thing along? I remember I didn't even really have anywhere pressing to be, but I was still so irritated. I was just so used to hurrying, it was hard for me to slow down. But you know what? Over time, that slower pace became one of my favorite things about Lake Havasu. Now, I might be that person having that long chat with the cashier. So if you're in line behind me, I'm sorry. But listen here, it's not about rushing from one task to the next. It's about taking the time to enjoy life, whether that's sipping your coffee as the sun rises, or taking a leisurely boat ride across the lake. I mean, I still catch myself once in a while getting anxious, but trust me, once you embrace the laid-back vibe of Lake Havasu, you will wonder how you ever lived without it. So take a deep breath, slow down, and let this pace show you what life's really about. Okay, number two is the desert landscape. When I first visited Lake Havasu with my family, my mother-in-law would always say, "Aren't the mountains beautiful?" And honestly, I didn't see it. I thought, what mountains? You mean those little hills over there? To me, the mountains had snow and grass covered the ground. I mean, coming from Washington where everything was green and lush, Lake Havasu's dry, rocky desert felt so pretty barren. And honestly, I loved mowing the lawn back in Washington. So much so that we had a shed full of yard tools. But when we made the move to Havasu, we sold all of it. I mean, there's no need for lawnmowers here because, let's face it, there's no grassy lawns, no endless rows of big green trees either. I mean, it was a big adjustment. And I know a lot of newcomers feel the same way at first. But here's the thing about the desert. It takes a little time, but it really grows on you. I mean, the mountains are always changing colors, and once you start exploring, you realize the beauty isn't really in the lush greenery, it's in all the little details. The vibrant sunsets that paint the sky every evening. I mean, we get amazing sunsets here. You can see for miles in the desert, and getting out on those hiking trails that lead to breathtaking views and rugged charm of the mountains that surround you, it's all worth it. And then there is the practical side too. No more grassy lawns mean no more hours spent mowing. Desert landscaping, it's not just beautiful, it's low maintenance and eco-friendly. Plus those water bills, they are way lower than you would expect. So yes, the desert is different. It might not have lush grass or snow-capped peaks, but once you embrace it, you will see that Lake Havasu's beauty is in a league all its own. Number three, the lack of streetlights. Okay, if you've never been to Lake Havasu City, let me paint you a picture. Take a look at our street map and you'll notice something interesting. It's like somebody just took a bunch of spaghetti noodles and dropped them on the map. So for newcomers, it can feel like a real challenge to find your way around. Now add the fact that there are no street lights, and navigating at night can quickly go from frustrating to downright intimidating. It might feel inconvenient or even a little unsafe when you're not familiar with the area. But here's the thing. Over time, like me, most people start to see the beauty in the setup. The reason there is no streetlights is that they create light pollution. And without them, Lake Havasu will boast some of the most incredible night skies that you'll ever see. Stargazing here isn't just a once-in-a-while event, it becomes a part of life, and suddenly, those dark streets don't seem so bad when they come with a front row seat to the stars. Number 4, of course, the summer heat. When people first moved to Lake Havasu City, the summer heat could feel downright brutal. With temperatures often soaring above 110 degrees, it's no surprise this is a common complaint. I mean, many new residents find themselves stuck indoors during the hottest parts of the day, missing their usual outdoor routines. But over time, you learn to adapt. You discover the beauty of early mornings and late evenings for your outdoor activities. Plus, the heat brings perks like there's no mosquitoes. I mean, it's too hot, they melt. It's nice to enjoy endless boating days, pool parties, and let's face it, no gray skies or snow to shovel in the winter. That is a trade-off that most people really come to love. Number 5, limited shopping opportunities. Okay, if you're thinking about moving to Lake Havasu City, let me share something that you might not expect, especially if you're coming from a big city. You will notice pretty quickly that we don't have a ton of shopping options. Sure, we have some, but it's nothing like living in Phoenix, Las Vegas, or even Tacoma, Washington, where I'm from. Back there, I had literally 3 malls and at least 3 Costco's within 30 minutes of my house. I mean, I could just grab about anything at a moment's notice. So when I moved here, I will be honest, it felt like a big inconvenience at first. But here's the twist. Over time, I started to see the beauty of it. Instead of relying on the same old chain stores, I found myself exploring local shops and supporting small businesses. And what's really cool is that sense of community that comes with it. You actually get to know the store owners and they start to know you. Plus, you will find unique items that you would probably never come across at a big box store. Now, if you do find yourself missing that big city convenience, there are easy solutions. I mean, online shopping, hello, delivery service, and those fun weekend trips to Las Vegas or Phoenix, they are perfect for filling in any gaps and picking up those things that you just can't find here. While the lack of major retail chains might seem like a downside at first, it's actually just part of what makes Lake Havasu City so special. You get to slow down, connect with your community, and experience a lifestyle that is truly unique. But I will admit, I still would love to have a Costco nearby. Okay, number 6, the lack of intensely competitive sports programs for kids. Okay, this is probably one that you wouldn't really think of, kids sports. Now, moving to Lake Havasu City has so many perks, like we talked about, the stunning lake, endless outdoor adventures, tight-knit community. But if you are a parent of a young athlete, there's something important that you should know. Lake Havasu doesn't quite have the same level of competitive sports programs for younger kids as you might find in a larger city. So when our family moved here, our daughter was just starting high school, and luckily she was able to try out for the high school athletic teams right away. But our son, he was only in 7th grade, and he was a very, very serious wrestler. That made him face different challenges. So back in Washington, he had been a state champion in wrestling, but when we arrived here, we realized there weren't many competitive opportunities for middle school athletes like him. In fact, the options were so limited that we made the difficult decision to have him spend his 8th grade year back in Washington, living with his wrestling coach and joining the national team to keep pursuing his passion. It was an incredibly tough year for all of us, but the good news is he came back to Lake Havasu for high school and went on to win some high school state championships. So talk about perseverance, it paid off. Okay, now let's talk about high school sports here in Lake Havasu. I mean, they can be rewarding, but they also come with unique challenges. Most of the schools our teams will compete against are at least 2.5 hours away, which means that you have long days and even longer road trips. So I'll never forget the first time our daughter had her first swim meet in Phoenix. A rainstorm, a big rainstorm, delayed everything, and she didn't get home until nearly 2 a.m. I was so stressed out that whole night. It wasn't long after that when we decided that she needed her own cell phone just so we could stay in touch during those late nights. But you know what? Those long road trips turned out to be something special. They created incredible bonding experiences for the athletes, friendships that lasted well beyond high school. So while Lake Havasu may not have the same resources as bigger cities when it comes to youth sports, the experiences here are still filled with unforgettable moments and lifelong connections. So if your family is considering a move, just know that while there may be challenges, there are also plenty of rewards. And for young athletes, there's always a way to make their dreams happen. Number 7 is the boating culture. Living in Lake Havasu City is no secret the boating is a huge part of the lifestyle here. But if you're not a boater, let's be real, it can feel a little overwhelming at first. I mean, when we first moved here, we did have a boat, but the boating culture in Lake Havasu, it was nothing like what we were used to. Out here, the lake is so alive with everything from laid-back fishing boats, wakeboarders, even adrenaline-pumping racing boats that hit over 100 miles per hour. And let's not forget those holiday weekends when it feels like every boater in the region has hit the water. For someone new, it can feel like you're missing out if you don't have a boat. But here's the thing, getting involved is easier than you think. Rent a boat for the day, join a tour, or make friends with someone who already knows the ropes. Before you know it, you will see why boating is such a big part of life here. I mean, the lake becomes your playground. It's more than just a way to have fun. It's a way to connect with others and soak in the natural beauty of Lake Havasu in a way that's impossible from the shore. So if you're feeling intimidated by the boating culture, don't worry. Jump in, find your way to connect, and you will discover why the lake is the heart of life in Lake Havasu. Number 8 is limited dining options. I mean, at first it feels like the dining scene in Lake Havasu City doesn't quite measure up to what you'd find in a big city. I get it. I felt the same way. You won't find endless options for every cuisine under the sun. But here's the thing. As you spend more time here, you start to discover your go-to spots. Maybe it's a cozy local diner, a waterfront restaurant with amazing views, or even a hidden gem serving up incredible tacos or mouth-watering barbecue. And one of the best parts of dining in a smaller community, the personalized service. You'll often find yourself on a first-name basis with the staff, making every meal feel like you're catching up with old friends. Okay, number 9, seasonal crowds. Okay, let's face it, living in a tourist destination like Lake Havasu City comes with its challenges. During peak seasons, the influx of visitors can feel a bit overwhelming. Roads get busier, restaurants fill up faster, and the boat ramps, they are packed to the brim. But let me tell you, there's a way to navigate it all like a seasoned local. From November through April, we welcome our winter visitors. Now those snowbirds are escaping the cold for our sunny skies. And then in March, spring breakers roll into town for an entire month, bringing a youthful energy that takes over the city. But they will be hanging out down at the water, so you can avoid those areas during that time. And then of course, those hot summer months, especially on those long 3-day weekends, we will get boaters from nearby California flooding the lake for some fun in the sun. But here's the secret that every local learns. It's all about timing and knowing where to go. We know which spots to avoid when things get crazy. And more importantly, we know the best times to enjoy those popular places without the hustle and bustle. So over time, you will come to appreciate the energy that the tourists bring. After all, they are a big part of what keeps Lake Havasu vibrant and our economy thriving. Plus, their enthusiasm, I think, really reminds us how special this place is. So whether it's embracing the busyness or finding your own slice of quiet paradise, living in Lake Havasu means adapting to the rhythm of the seasons and trying to appreciate every minute of it. Okay, and number 10, the wildlife. Okay, if you're not used to desert living, encountering critters like scorpions or snakes might feel a little unsettling at first. Believe me, I've been there. I remember warming up for a softball game and one of my teammates had to chase a ball out into the path of a rattlesnake. I mean, it was coiled up, resting in the grass. But thankfully, we were able to safely relocate it back into the desert without any trouble. So over time, you will learn how to coexist with nature here. I mean, most people here tell me they've never even seen a rattlesnake, even though I've seen many. But simple precautions like checking your shoes before putting them on become second nature. And before you know it, you will start to appreciate the unique ecosystem that makes this place so special. I mean, you'll come across some really weird looking bugs here. It's just one of the many things that makes Lake Havasu such a fascinating place to call home. So don't let the wildlife scare you, embrace it. So there you have it, the top things that I struggled with when we first moved to Lake Havasu. But eventually I came to love. Every place has its quirks, but here in Lake Havasu, those quirks have a way of growing on you and making life here truly special. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you are thinking about making the move to Lake Havasu, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help you every step of the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.